Alright guys, Fuller coming to you with another video. I hope all is well with y'all. So man, yeah, we had an upset last night. Mikey Garcia loses a majority decision against a unknown first-time fighting in the United States, Sandor Martin. It was quite simple. Sandor Martin, although not known as a big puncher, outboxed him. That's all it came down to. Outboxed him. And, you know, by outboxing him, he got a majority decision. So congratulations to him. You know, it was well deserved. And he did his thing. Now, I've said this, and I'll say it before I said it again, that, you know, that Errol Spence fight took a lot out of Mikey Garcia. He was never the same fighter after that fight. You have to understand something. Although Errol Spence, you know, people will say that Errol Spence is not the biggest puncher at 147, but he's one of the more frequent punchers at 147. And believe it or not, he's one of the more awkward punchers at 147. So when you have this combination, it's going to lead to a lot of damage, because when you look at the Mikey Garcia fight, you know, he was throwing them looping punches, and those looping punches hurt because you can't see where they're coming from. Not only can you not see where they're coming from, but, you know, you're not really ready to take the impact of what's to come behind them, you know? And so I really think that fight took a lot of things out of Mikey Garcia. You know, many people weren't impressed with how he looked against Jesse Vargas, you know. And then another person, and many people, you know, he said that, you know, Errol Spence is not the biggest puncher. You know, these are his words, and understood, you know, fair enough. He's been in the ring with him. So, you know, fair assessment. But Danny Garcia, he hasn't been in the ring ever since he fought Errol Spence, and that wasn't even 100% Errol Spence. That was a post-car accident Errol Spence. You know what I mean? So everybody knows I rock with Earl. You know, the only thing I would say is his lack of discipline and stuff like that. You know, that's the only problem I would say with Errol Spence. You know, but as long as he tests clean, you know, I'm good. I'm good with him. As long as he's not cycling off no PEDs or anything like that, I'm good with Errol Spence. I think that, you know, he's just I guess you can say he's how would I explain Errol Spence's fighting? That he's you know, I guess a meter fighter, where, you know, in the beginning of the fight, he's just kind of like chopping the tree down with body punches and everything like that, and not throwing as many punches. But towards the middle and the end of the fight, that dude's letting loose. That dude is throwing the kitchen sink at you because you've already been broken down. You know, so kudos to Errol Spence. You know, hopefully we see him back soon. But there is something else that I wanted to speak on. And that thing that I wanted to speak on, of course, is that lightweight division. You know, everybody knows I'm big on the lightweight division. But there were some certain things that have happened, that have transpired, that I really want to speak on, and that I really need to address. And some of these things are going to be unpopular truths by people's standards, but I got to address it, man. Definitely got to address it. So you all know by now that Ryan Garcia has pulled out of Jojo Diaz fight that was, I believe, scheduled for in December, you know, wrist surgery or something like that. That's what the headline is saying. Well, I believe it's something else. I believe maybe cycling off his drug program. That's what I believe personally. You know, he didn't want to do no body testing. That's just my personal belief. You know, you don't have to believe me, but that's just the theory I have, you know. Now, granted, it looks like Devin Haney wants to fight him wants to fight Jojo Diaz on the December date. You know, that's the fight he wants. He wants that fight in December, right? A contract has been sent. The ball is in Jojo Diaz's court. The question is, will he pick up and dribble the ball? Now, we're in October, mid-October now, and time is ticking. So, I think Jojo Diaz should stop giving Ryan Garcia energy, because if you look at Twitter, you know, he's calling Ryan Garcia a B word. He's calling him like all sorts of names. He should maybe put that energy towards Devin Haney and getting the fight done, you know. Golden Boy should stop holding things back and let this fight happen, you know. That's what I believe. So yeah. Now, the thing is that will Golden Boy let this fight happen? Will Golden Boy decide, hey, you know what? This is a fight that we want, and we want to give the fans. Jojo Diaz is a rough, sturdy fighter. You know, why don't we just put him in there against a boxer, you know? So, with that being said, nothing is holding the fight back, you know? Nothing is holding it back. We can get the fight if the powers that be want us to get the fight. So, last but not least, at the Michael Garcia fight, DivaFemale Hoepez and his father ran into Devin Haney and his father, right? So, words were exchanged. DivaFemale got G-checked like usual. And keep in mind, guys, DivaFemale once contemplated suicide. You know, that's what it was said on an article, that he was thinking about killing himself. So, that just goes to show how soft this man really is, you know? He may hide behind this, like, this exterior, the takeover and all this other stuff, but in reality, he's soft. And when real life hits him, you know, this is what happens. But what I really want to talk about, this is what I really want to talk about, and then I'm going to end this video. I didn't really like the fact that he felt comfortable dropping the M-bomb. You know, if you listen to the video, he says, after I knocked this nigga out. And, you know, I can't really give him a pass, and this is why I dislike him, and this is why I don't follow him. I used to follow him at the beginning of his career and stuff like that, but not anymore. Like certain fighters, like, when they show more of themselves, it doesn't take that much for me to be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to unfollow this dude. So, he drops the M-bomb, right? And with him dropping the M-bomb, I'm like, oh, so he feels comfortable in saying that, doesn't he? He feels pretty comfortable dropping M-bombs, right? So, I said, okay, let me look at this from a couple of different perspectives. First perspective is NY upbringing. Probably grew up around a lot of minorities, things like that. So he thinks he can get a pass. Second perspective, he said it subconsciously. So this is what he really feels, you know. That's another perspective I had. Third perspective, he has that racial superiority complex. And I'm going to tell you why I feel this way. Although DivaFemale Hoepez is of Honduran descent, he'll claim that Spanish flag very quickly, meaning the flag from Spain. And if you know any better, Spanish people do not people from Spain consider themselves Caucasian. They consider themselves European because they are European. He'll claim that flag. He'll wear that flag. He'll talk about how he has family in Barcelona, this, that, and the other. And if you know Spanish people, and granted, I have family who lives in Spain, so they give me the whole scoop about what goes on there. They're pretty, I'm not going to group them all together. I'm not going to group all of them. But some do have that colonial racist mentality, you know. Hell, they're even racist to other Latin Americans. You say, soy colombiano, soy venezolano, soy dominicano, and watch their faces frown. This happens there, no doubt. So, with that being said, I believe it's this third option that really comes how DivaFemale views himself and views Devin Haney. And the thing is that you know, with boxing, if it was possible to leave race out of it, then I would leave race out of it if it was possible. But it's simply impossible to do something like that. You simply can't do it. You know, there's no way in hell that you can leave race out of boxing. And largely this has to do with fans. And I'm sorry to say it, largely it has to do with Latin American fans, you know. Now, when Latin Americans say the word, when Latin Americans drop the N-bomb, right? It does, like, get on my nerves. It's like, yo, why are you dropping the N-bomb? And you don't even look like a N-word, right? That's what gets me, you know? Because if for example, if a mulatto from Latin America, let's say an Afro-Colombian, an Afro-Dominican, an Afro-Peruvian, if one of them drops the N-word, then no problem, because they're black. You know, you can tell, dark-skinned and what have you, right? They look the part, right? But when one of these, like, mestizos, for example, drops the N-word, or one of these European descendant Latin Americans drop the N-word, who descend from Spaniard blood, maybe French blood, Italian blood, it's like, yo, what are we doing? You know, I'll tell you a story. There's a guy at my gym, you know, he's Mexican. He drops the N-bomb all the time, and it's like, I really don't like that, you know, because there doesn't look like an inch of black in him. So, when he drops it, I'm not cool with that. And with respect for the gym, I don't speak on it, but in sparring, I let my hands speak on it, you know. I've touched them up a couple of times in sparring, you know, stayed calm about it, and there was nothing he can do about it, you know. light touch up, smack them around a little bit. So I can't really give DivaFemale a pass for using the N-word, because if you listen to it again, he said, after I knocked this nigga out, that's what he said. Now, Devin Haney, I guess he was caught up. The adrenaline got to him. But, Devin Haney just kept on calling him a pussy, DivaFemale didn't do nothing about that, If you look at it, the interaction with DivaFemale and Devin Haney was more stoic than DivaFemale Hoepez was. You can tell he was more stoic, more stone-faced, more like, you know what I mean? Whereas DivaFemale wasn't that, So just let it be known that, Devin Haney has full confidence in his abilities. And many of these DivaFemale fans will say, well, Devin Haney was buzzed by Linares, did the stanky legs, has pillow hands and stuff like that. They'll always use that. But the real question is, who wants to test those pillow hands? Who wants to go in there against those pillow hands? Like, is there anybody rushing to fight the pillow hands, as they say? That's what question we need to ask ourselves, right? And so, with that being said, it's sad, but a lot of racist boxing fans, man. A lot of racist boxing fans. You even have some of these guys like Ak, who does the Zone like boxing analyst show. And you even have guys like Chris Mannix who try to paint this narrative to keep a boxer from being great, who happens to be black. That's just how it works, unfortunately. This is just how it goes. This is just how things are set up to be. So, with that being said, one more thing I want to add about the Latin, the Latin use of the N-word is that, if you are, for example, Afro-Latin, then I understand. I understand if you're Afro-Latin. For example, if you're like, I'm going to name some rappers. If you're like Noriega, who is of Puerto Rican descent, if you're Fabulous, who is of Dominican descent, if you're AZ, who is of Dominican descent, if you're Dave East, who I believe is mixed with Bayesian and Dominican, then the N-word is fine, because you're black. Your culture is just Latin, But if you're a guy like Pitbull, if you're a guy like Tekashi 6ix9ine, no, you shouldn't be using that word. And so that's where DivaFemale falls in with me. DivaFemale falls in that category. So he shouldn't be using this word, and hopefully this fight can be made with him and Devin Haney, and Devin Haney can like whoop his ass for using that word. Remind him of what time it is. Like, actually give him nigga behavior in the ring by smacking him around. But anyhow, that's all I got for now, guys. Leave your thoughts, leave your comments. Fuller signing out. Njadama.